This is an easy color mixing lesson that I usually do with my first graders, but you could start as early as pre-K for this or go up to second or third. I use Play-Doh, but you can use any generic dough, or you can use modeling clay, but I prefer not to use the modeling clay because it leaves a little bit of a greasy residue. If you're using a generic dough or Play-Doh, you may want to add a little red food coloring to your red before you hand it out because the dough tends to lean a little orange. It mixes up fine for when you're mixing the red and yellow together to make orange, but if your clay is too orange to start with, when you try to make it into the purple, mixing it with the blue, it tends to come out sort of brown. Also, if you've got the dark blue Play-Doh, that will work. Light blue Play-Doh works just as well. This is a great lesson if you're on a cart, if you want to teach color mixing without using paint, or for any other reason you just don't want to make a mess. You play it in rounds, and you can do as many rounds as you want. You can do it so that each child only gets to make one color, or you can do it so that everybody gets the whole rainbow, depending on how much time you want to spend and how much Play-Doh you have. The first step is distribute the Play-Doh. Now, this is plenty, but depending on how much you have, how many children you have, you could make it into as small a ball as you want. But I usually give each child about that much. I like to pre-divide my dough before I get to the classroom so that it is quicker to hand out. If everyone is going to be mixing their colors at the same time, you can give 1/3 of the class the orange, 1/3 of the class the green, and 1/3 of the class the purple. If ever you have enough for everybody to do it, then I would just hand out one set at a time, which passing out is easy because then their hands are busy while you're doing the next round. So the first thing we want to do for each round is distribute the dough, and then you're going to have your prediction. So if we mix blue and yellow together, what do you think we're going to get? If everyone is working on the same color, that you can just go from there. If everyone is working on a different color, talk about the different combinations and say, what do you think you're going to get? Oh, I see you have these colors. What do you think you're going to get? Then the next step is mixing. And I say we're going to mush and gush and squeeze and roll. And depending how old they are and how big their hands are, it may take a while to get their colors, which is fine because they love it and it is so fun to watch. And then they're going to be very exciting. Even the ones that say, that they knew they were going to get green, they're going to be like, oh, look, it's turning green. I got green. Then the last part of the round is the discussion. Well, what did you think you were going to get? And what did you get? So I'm going to go through the other two really quickly. Because I took that extra step to add the red food coloring, I got a nice purple and not a brown. All right, I got a nice orange. So you have that discussion. Okay, everybody has got either one color or everybody at this point should have a green, a purple, and an orange. For the next round, we're going to introduce the concept of lighter and darker, or value. Now, you're going to have the kids divide their dough in one of three ways. If you only have enough dough that you're going to have them choose lighter or darker, you can just leave it in one ball. If you want them to divide it, what I like to do is say, all right, pick up your purple, or if they only have one, you can just say, pick up your dough. But if, you have multiple colors, you can say, all right, I want you to pick up the purple. Everyone show me their purple. Hold it up. Everybody say, okay, I want you to take it And now I want you to have two purples. Two purples. That is pretty easy for them to do. And that way you can do a lighter and a darker. What's more difficult is to get them to divide into 3 equal parts. Now this is ideal because then you can keep one, the original orange color, and then you can add a lighter and darker to the other two. But even I did not get the balance perfectly right with 3. So ideally, you would want to have these 3 comparisons. I usually don't. I just go with the lighter and darker because getting them divided into balls of 3 is too much of a challenge. So then we add lighter or darker, and you can see, and take as much time to talk about value as you want. Notice that the amount of black I have is very small compared to the amount of white I have, because the dough can take a lot of white. You can make it as light as you want. But if you overkill the black, everything's going to turn out to be black. As an example, on the purple, I'm going to give about an equal amount to anybody who is going to do theirs lighter. And for the darker, I'm going to give a small amount of black. And then we're going to mush and gush and mix. Then for my last, I am going to add darker to one, lighter to another, and then I'm just going to let the orange be. So we finish up that round again with the review. What did you think was going to happen when we added the white? What happened? What did you think was going to happen when we added the black? What happened? Then you can just keep going if you like, or you can be done. You can stop there, or depending on how much dough you have left over, you can give the option of mixing white and black. What do you think is going to happen when we put these two together? And what did we get when we mixed black and white? So you can keep going with this just as long as you have clay, and at the end, just let them mix it all together, because they're going to be itching to do that. But you definitely want to do the prediction of what's going to happen when you mix green, purple, and orange together. And I always get a kick out of letting them make this just awful sludgy brown color. Many have said to me, oh, my mom won't let me do this, or my other teacher says we always have to keep the colors separate. I say, well, it's science, we're experimenting, see what happens. When we're done, I have a Ziploc bag for everyone, and they just get to take it home with them, because obviously I'm not going to use this again. This can be a very economical lesson. You don't have to buy that much Play-Doh if you've, just going to give everybody just a little pinch. Or if you've got the budget to give everybody a whole can of each color, you can send them home with 3 cans. It's fun for everybody. You can stretch out the predicting and mixing as long as you want, or whenever you think they've had enough of that, just let them play at their tables, mix it all up, put it in the bags, take it home, and that is a very easy lesson. Never fails. Even when I get some pretty ugly colors. The other day I had a red that I thought was red enough, but when it mixed up with the blue, it turned out to an awful brown, and the kids said, oh, this isn't purple, this is brown. We took the opportunity to discuss it. Why it came out brown is because the red we had too much orange in it, and everybody was satisfied, and they just kept on mushing and gushing.